Hi, this is Richard. I'm excited to introduce an exciting episode that brings you my colleague Josh on the ground at Ton Gateway in the conference in Dubai. As we all know, Ton is a very exciting ecosystem with a lot going on. We will hear from their head of community for Ton Society, which aggregates all the users of Ton and all the builders and developers throughout the globe, putting them together and supporting them with all sorts of interesting resources and events like the one we attended. We also speak with projects like Midas, which is bringing DeFi to Ton in a very interesting way. We also talk with the Chief Business Officer at Ston.Fi, who shares why he's so passionate about the Ton ecosystem, where it's going, and how they are creating new fintech products for people to use. All of this and more on the Edge of NFT. It's time to cue the intro.
Welcome to the Edge of NFT, the podcast that brings you the top 1% of Web3 today and what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts of the business side and also the human element of how Web3 is changing the way we interact with the things we love. This podcast is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers who are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
Hi everyone, this is Josh Kriger, host of Edge of NFT, live at the Ton Gateway, Dubai 2024. It is a beautiful twilight evening on day 2. I'm here with Viktor. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Viktor is someone you want to know. He is actually the head of the Ton community ecosystem. He community lead for the Ton Society, which means he manages a lot of social media content channels simultaneously. Before we get into sort of Ton and what's going on, how do you do that? What are your sort of growth hacks for like up and coming social media managers? Because it's getting harder these days.
I mean, it's not really a complicated thing. For me, it's very natural because I used to do that for many, many years. And I think for social media growth, it's always important to build the community-centric interaction. So that's always the key. If you want to grow, you got to uplift your community and then figure out your own unique way, how you interact with them on a daily basis. And then just keep up the energy going day over day over day. And it kicks.
Well, and it's sort of ironic you say that because before I knew who you were, I saw you dancing on top of the Ton sort of Tesla truck.
Yeah.
So I guess in both digital world and the real world, you're the guy that brings the energy.
Yes, I do. I try to do my best. And I mean, there's been the same videographer that we filmed content in South Korea before, and it's been my pin post. We already got 1.2 million views on this. And I told him, hey, let's film some content with this Tesla truck. So we hooked up and went to do so. And some dancing on the roof, that was like a final touch to it.
So where'd this Tesla truck come from? This Ton blinged out Tesla truck?
So it's a new collaboration between Ton and the guys that actually brought the cars. And yesterday, there's been the first ever sale of the Bentley in Ton coin as well. And so they brought the Tesla Cybertruck all wrapped in Ton here. And there is a couple more things coming very soon from them as well. We're going to keep it under the hood for now, but you'll see more information on my Twitter.
Cool. So how long have you been in this role with Ton Society?
Mm-hmm. So I joined Ton Society in March, but the last, I'd say 2 to 3 months, I've transitioned to being a global community lead. Originally started as a content manager, but then my role quickly evolved.
All right, so things happen fast in the world of Ton. We're seeing that, right? Hamster Combat, incredible growth. Yeah. We covered that a lot. There's a lot of interesting things happening. Ton. What have been some of the highlights for you of what you've seen in the last 3 months or so that you could share with the community?
Yeah, I think that we see the transition from the simple tap-to-earn projects into more complex and interesting games to play for people. And I think it's very natural because firstly, it needed to kick off and show the potential. So it started with a Node coin. Yeah, I mean, it's been great. They achieved great capitalization at launch, but it's been challenging to reward so many users. But it showed the true potential of this ecosystem of Telegram and Ton integration.
Absolutely. It was the largest airdrop in history, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and before that, the largest also was on Ton, and that was Docs. And they, at the time of launch, I think 42 million eligible wallets being for the airdrop. And yeah, but Docs distributed actually quite good amount of value per person. Majority of my reply guys got somewhere around $150 to $200 for like just simple tasks, no tapping, no endless playing. You know, they've been very happy about that. So going into the future, I think we're going to see a lot of applications that people will want to play because they're fun to play, not because they're just earning or because they will earn something in the future.
We learned that with blockchain gaming is that the idea of like games that reward you for financially, they're not sustainable, right? Like I still play NFL Rivals. Why? because it's really fun to play.
Yeah, because you like the game.
I made $600, but it took me a long time to sell those players because I didn't want to lose them off my team. So to me, that's a more replicatable, scalable model. There's been people that said when NFTs are like buying a cup of coffee, like when it's part of your normal life to interact in these ways, then things get real.
Yeah, do you know like games type of League of Legends, let's say? I believe it's a matter of time till someone creates something like that on Ton and Telegram, and then people would be just endlessly playing. But your characters, your skins will be the NFTs. You'll accumulate not just the userless points, but actual currency of this game that you can later exchange for Ton, etc. This is very powerful, but there's a lot of little things that still need to be figured out by those projects. And I think we're right now in a really testing phase where people exploring what's possible to be done with this technology. And then in the future, you'll figure out what works best, and then we're going to see some more settling onto the certain paths.
Very cool. So you're an ombudsman to the community, and in Web3, folks do not hold back their thoughts on the good, the bad, the ugly. Talk to some folks. Obviously, making it easy to develop on Ton. Everyone knows that needs to happen. Addition to that, like diversifying the ecosystem, more geographies. What are some of the other feedback you're getting from the community and you're passing on to the right folks?
Mm-hmm. So the one big feedback that the community really wanted us to do something about was meme coins. They wanted us to provide more exposure to them. They wanted us to provide more support to this part of the ecosystem because, we support DeFi, we support gaming a lot, but then the meme coins kind of been left under the hood as well. So what we've done yesterday, we've just announced the launch of the Ton Meme Line there with the Kabbalah Arena and Meme Mountain. And today all the memes pumping like 100% up. The sound went like 8,000% up. Like there is a new meme coin that just surpassed 30 million market cap today.
Wow.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is that's what the community been expressing. They wanted that, and we just did our first step toward it. And it's already reflecting just in one single day on a massive amount of numbers of volume. We're speaking of more than $7.5 billion that have been moved around throughout the last 24 hours.
Cool. And where do you recommend people go to sort of keep in touch with everything going on in Ton? Like, how do they stay sort of ahead of the pulse? Obviously, coming to events like the Gateway, getting the sort of word on the street alpha directly as things are being built is definitely exciting. But when you're not traveling, where do you recommend people start to go down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, this is actually a great question. So first of all, follow Ton Blockchain on Twitter, join our Telegram channel, TonCoin, and then follow Ton Society. Because what we do, we're actually positioning ourselves as a media company that's providing coverage of what's happening inside of the ecosystem. Meanwhile, I'm doing the breaking news on my page. So following me in case you want to know the real news and alpha ahead of everything else before we, announce some partnerships, before we call spaces, before we question the projects. If you want to know the information, following me will help. And there's already more than 300,000 people that do that. So I'm very grateful for each and every single one of you guys. I love you.
All right. So, Viktor, really cool to know where people go to dive down the rabbit hole. Any predictions on what's going to happen over the next few years with Ton?
Well, people should participate in Ton Meme Line in the Open League because we did some improvements in this regard. Because before the Open League winners, the project's been receiving the capital, the prizes. Now we want to reward the community of those projects instead. So that's the big step forward. That's the big alpha. And I think also participating in sort of different activities that are provided by us and collecting SBTs is very important. Like I cannot say too much, but there is going to be a lot of connection between airdrops that are going to be happening and SBTs on Ton. Like you will see, guys. Just keep that in mind. Yeah.
All right. Not financial advice, but really exciting to get your perspective on what's going on in the ecosystem. Where can folks go to keep tabs on what you're up to in the space and all the alpha?
Yeah, so speaking of the ecosystem, we presented the metrics yesterday also at the Gateway, and it's been enormous growth through the last year, like 70x across different metrics. The community engagement is completely expanding, exploding. At this point, Ton became the third ecosystem by its size of amount global conversations on media after Ethereum and Solana, which is a major point for us because we can see how community is excited for this technology, the use of it, and how easy it is to onboard masses. So going into the future, I think hundreds of millions of people will realize that this is the easiest way to get onboarded to crypto. That's how people actually can get a first taste and touch of it and then explore the ecosystem further. So I'd say within the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see thousands of applications going to be deployed. A lot of them going to be playable games, interesting games, AAA games. And I mean, people showed me some demos while here on the event. It's insane. I posted it on my timeline. People know what I mean already, but we're going to see a lot of that. Like there is more than 200 gaming studios going to be entering the scene. They already start to pivot and building also Ton and Telegram because they already experienced in doing so for the ecosystem like WeChat, Kakao, and this is no different. It's just the beginning of something very, very big.
Well, appreciate your perspective. Great to have you on the show.
And now for a quick word from our sponsor before we dive into the next segment. Are you ready to take your sports predictions to the next level? Look no further than maincard.io, the fantasy management platform that's taking the blockchain world by storm. With MainCard, every card is a ticket to excitement. You can predict sport outcomes, trade cards in the marketplace, and challenge opponents in thrilling weekly duels. And don't wait. Head to maincard.io now and start earning rewards with your NFTs because it pays to be early. And now back to today's episode.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Edge of NFT live at the Ton Gateway in Dubai. And I'm here with Martin Massa, the Chief Business Development Officer at Ston.Fi. Great to have you on the show.
Josh, man, thank you so much for having me. What a delight. Weather and a great host.
Well, thank you. You don't even know that yet.
I follow you on the socials, so I definitely do know that. So yeah, don't worry.
Well, good to have you on the show. Tell us what brings you to this event and what you guys are up to with regards to Ton.
Oh, what a lovely question to start off with. So I'm Chief Business Development Officer at the largest DEX on Ton, that's Ston.Fi. I can't not be at the premier Ton event. I gave a great keynote, I did a great panel. If you want to be where all the Ton fans are, this is the place to be.
So what was your keynote all about?
The keynote is how we need to easily onboard these users into crypto, into DeFi, because there's a huge amount of users that are coming in. They're not all crypto savvy as we are, and it's like, how can you make them?
So what are your thoughts on like Hamster Combat as an onboarding mechanism, and what else should be done similar or different than that?
I think Hamster Combat showed if you got something that gives people joy, okay, that's what games are. You know, it's joy. You know, it's not an effort to do. It's nice and fun. People were playing it. I think the thing with Hamster Combat is you need to have that next step, okay? So it showed how can you onboard these users? What is the next step? And it didn't seem to be that huge next step as we've seen, like Telegram users have left, it's dropped down. However, a lot more games are thinking, this is a way to onboard, and this is what we're doing.
So what are some of the other innovative projects that you're seeing at Ton at this conference in general? Obviously, we'll talk a little about Ston.Fi, but more broadly speaking, what are you seeing in the space that like has your like eyes popping?
You got here in a taxi, I'm assuming?
I did.
And that was that
Dream.
Correct. Now, when you got here, had you been to Dubai before?
Sure, many times.
If you hadn't been to Dubai and you needed a cream, what would you have had to do?
Download the app. So there is I did see a Telegram rideshare app. What's it called again? Tada. Yeah, I
talk about that. Tada is calling it.
Yeah, I used Tada because I was on that influencer jet with Redacted, and they had us like use Tada. So that was cool.
I was in Singapore, okay, and I had to get there, and I got at the end, and I was like, what do I do? And then someone said, just type Tada in. It literally is that easy. Loads up, put in my destination, connected my Ton wallet, okay, I was off. So the guy next to me, you know, on the plane was still on the Wi-Fi, you know, that 0.1, downloading it. I let him share the taxi. He was in, we were good to go. And then on the taxi on the way there, he was able to sort of download it. And that's how you onboard users. You show people how fun it really is.
So you're pretty deep in the Ton ecosystem.
Yeah.
What percentage of users are using blockchain applications that are already using Ton? Like, how much of a gap there is there to close up?
I think, if you think about it, everyone near enough in Hamster Combat got onboarded to crypto. Okay, did they know it? Most of them probably didn't. Okay, so I think what we need is that next step. Okay, we've onboarded them to crypto. How do you keep them there? Okay, like what you know, like are people just there for the airdrop? Are people just there? Because you can onboard people anywhere by just giving them money. You need that next step of how to get people in. So look, so that was a great example, okay? You'll always be using your crypto, makes life easier, makes life better. You'll be playing games, and there's a lot of IP that's coming, okay? So IP, I think, is going to be 2025, traditional Web 2 ID or traditional IP coming to Web 3, engaging the users, making people have fun, and do it and enjoy in this.
So you guys are at Ston.Fi. You're a DeFi platform that you can use fully on Ton. You don't have to like go to a website or type it in.
Well, this is the best thing. Okay, so website, Telegram mini app, but this is what sets us apart. Okay, and this is why we have so many users. We're integrated into so many Ton applications and mini apps. Okay, so again, you're using Ston.Fi without knowing it. So we're in wallets, bots, but the key thing, games. So we have so many games that have integrated us. So imagine you get your tokens from, the next game out there. A great example is TapSwap, 80 million users.
Yeah.
They have us as a DEX, but you might not even know it's a DEX. You get your tokens, you can buy more, sell more. You'll be using Ston.Fi in the background, making it a lot simpler, easier, keeping those users in that.
So you're a B2B and a B2C solution.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, you should do my promotion for me. Yeah, that's exactly the way we're doing it. So obviously B2Bs, we can get a lot more users by reaching out to some of the key places. But obviously B2C, we care about the consumers and the users, more the crypto advanced ones when they want to do more advanced.
So with regards to sort of DeFi, there's always this conversation about how much risk tolerance should the platform enable. Like what's Ston.Fi's perspective on that? What are some of the sort of more conservative and some of the more risky opportunities that you can do with the product?
You can do straight swaps. So again, it's like a traditional like Uniswap, but then I know like we were doing these farming pools. So basically if you put two currencies together, you get liquidity provided, but then if you put it in a farm, it's an additional rewards. Now, I was dealing with very strong, big users, and they didn't know how to do this. Okay, they're big, very pro-Ton, and they're like, how do I farm my token?
Yeah, it's
okay,
really complicated.
Really is. But then when I told them, they're like, hang on a sec, I don't want to sell any of my Ton to provide the other side. So we're doing single-sided liquidity, so you just have to stake or provide one side of Ton for that. So again, that's the really exciting.
That's cool. I haven't heard about that.
But you have to realize this is the way we onboard more users. Simplify the process. Crypto is way too easy. It needs to be easier.
Let your Ton maxis or ETH maxis just sort of provide what they already want to hold. That's pretty novel.
Which brings me to my other point that we're doing with Omniston is cross-chain. Because you realize there's ETH maxis, there's Solana maxis, and the idea is getting them in to the ecosystem as well. So if you've got your ETH and you want to come into a Ton meme coin, it's the one way that we get to do that.
Very cool. Well, this has been fun. Where can people go to follow you, and where should they go to dive in more to what you guys are up to?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. Feel free to follow me on X. I'm Martin at Ston. That's Martin at AT Ston. Follow me there. You can see what I'm saying. Obviously on LinkedIn as well, and just around at all any Ton conferences.
And it's Ston.Fi.
.fi. That easy. Ston.Fi, Ston.Fi.
How many FI domain handles are there? Like, that's interesting. I didn't know FI was even a domain.
I'm learning something new. Josh, thank you so much for having me, man. It's great to have a great chat. It just feels fun.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Cheers.
A quick word from our sponsors who's ready to navigate the cutting edge of tomorrow's legal landscape. Because at Zuber Lawler, they're not just attorneys, they're visionaries. With expertise in emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and the metaverse, they're paving the way for you to seize the future. For mergers and acquisitions to IP, their selective team delivers strategic solutions tailored to the ever-changing world of technology. Join us at Zuber Lawler, where the future meets the law at zuberlawler.com. Back to the episode.
Hi everyone, Josh Kriger, co-host of Edge of NFT, live at the Ton Gateway in Dubai. It's bustling here, and I have a chance to chat with my new friend Dennis Dinkelmeyer, the CEO of Midas. Nice to have you on the show.
Awesome to meet you, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah. So I understand we were chatting earlier, you just finished your raise. Congrats on that. And what are you building?
Midas is an asset tokenization project focused on stablecoins, specifically yield-bearing stablecoins. As you know, Tether and Circle are some of the largest companies in the space, but users don't earn any yield. So around $150 billion in stables sit there, not earning anything. Midas is here to change that. So we have two products. The first one being T-Bill. That's really a yield-bearing version of T-Bill. So holders can hold the assets and earn 5% from the US Treasuries. And the second one is Basis, which is a similar delta dollar neutral product. It's a much more profitable and uses holders to earn 25% instead of 5%.
Wow. So that's a 25% yield on holding what currencies?
Dollars. Dollar denominated return, yeah.
So is that USDC, USDT?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. That's quite a sizable return. How do you give someone such a large return while managing the risk?
Of course, very, very important. So there are risks, and we can get to this later. But most importantly, what this strategy is, it's one of the most widely used strategies in this market. So the basis trade is a very conventional in the trade. Basically, you take a long spot, so you hold Bitcoin long, and you short the future. Typically, the short holders pay the long a funding rate, and that effectively provides leverage to the system. And because Bitcoin holders are really, really excited to stay long on Bitcoin, they're happy to pay you a return for that. And that return today is quite profitable because Bitcoin is going up and expectations are quite attractive.
So what happens if Bitcoin starts going down?
Yeah, very good question. So the returns of the product might go down. So instead of 25% you make it at a minute, you might make 5%, or temporarily the return even goes negative. However, the returns are fully hedged. So the dollar value that you long is fully hedged with a short on the same asset. So even if the market goes down substantially, 30% assets, you don't lose your principal. The principal is fully hedged. There are risks. We can discuss it. For example, in crypto, you also have to be very careful around counterparty risk. You have to be very careful about execution risk and other considerations, but these are the main ones.
Cool. Yeah, I think what you're talking about is sort of part of this evolution of DeFi. I don't know, are we in DeFi 3.0 or, where are we in that sort of world? I'm curious your perspective, like how have you seen DeFi generally evolve and to what extent can you manage risk? And I think, is there a wall at some point where there's just going to be some inherent risk?
I think DeFi has gone through quite a lot of cycles, starting with ETH 3-4 years ago, MakerDAO and other iterations. And actually, I think it's a super, super exciting proposition. DeFi is really the lifeblood of crypto. When you look at the Ethereum ecosystem, for example, is really what drives a lot of users to crypto initially, because ultimately it's one way you can earn high returns, and everybody in the world likes high returns on their crypto assets. There have been many evolutions. So I think at the moment we see a trend for a lot of these protocols become more capital efficient and more trade efficient. Obviously, I know you had Martin from Ston. They're working on some really exciting initiatives there. But I think we're around in the version 3.0 of DeFi.
Cool. And I guess just reflecting on sort of the industry and some of our more challenging times, what are you doing from a compliance and from a risk management perspective? How have you sort of thought about that and built that into the product and into your team?
Well, thank you. That's a question actually near and dear to me. So I spent my entire background in traditional financial markets, worked with Goldman Sachs and Capital Group. This has really been a core focus of me from the beginning. And to be honest, also actually a big reason why I've stayed away from many activities in crypto in the past. So we got a license and a regulatory authorization from the regulator to distribute our products. Nobody else came up.
From what license? What regulator?
From the Liechtenstein regulator that's passported across all of Europe. We can go into the details of this, but really it's an area where we spend a lot of time on. The second one is not just the license of the regulator, but it's also around the structuring of a very high quality infrastructure and product. For example, our products are bankruptcy remote. That means in case of a bank run or a default of Midas, which is very unlikely, but in the case of us to happen, there's a third party that seizes the assets and effectively protects the token holders. So very high quality of infrastructure. I'm very proud of it.
Very cool. So we're at Gateway. I know you're talking to us about what you're building, but you're also having a chance to learn about what else is going on in the ecosystem. What have been some of the interesting projects that you'd like our listeners to be aware of and maybe that have caught your attention?
Yeah. So first of all, I am a huge maxi on Ton and Telegram. I think it's the most exciting trend in crypto. Why? Because realistically, when you look at the number of on-chain users and all of the other ecosystems, you maybe have a couple of million. Telegram today already has 10 million monthly active users, and that's even only the wallet has launched last year. That's only 1 year. Ton at USDT on Ton has already 1 million active wallets holding the assets, which is phenomenal growth. So I came to blockchain because effectively it allows the disintermediation, the wide open accessibility of high quality products for all users globally. And Ton is the only blockchain that really can do it. So if I can point you to one particular project, I still think Ton is very underrated. People don't understand it well enough, particularly in some of the Western regions. And I would point users to this. Within Ton, there are many great projects. For example, I've introduced to our friends at EVA, I've introduced to the Ston.Fi, and obviously some of the larger accounts in the space. But super excited ecosystem.
Any games that you play? Are you a gamer at all?
Obviously, first of all, I can plug our own app, and users can find us in our mini app, so you can touch the stone and turn it to gold.
Oh, okay. There's a little bit of a gamification of Midas, of course.
Of course, yeah. And goes without saying, some of the larger ones in the space are super exciting too. So Hamster, Notcoin, and others are super exciting.
Yeah, I got pretty high up the Hamster Combat food chain. And I have to say, I was a little disappointed with the airdrop, but when you have like 250 million people that are all participating, that's what happens. But really cool on them to build such a rapid community and create such a great user experience, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Which crypto project in the world can claim that they have airdropped the token to over 100 million users? Nobody can do that. That's actually pretty phenomenal, and we should really pinch ourselves on these numbers.
Yeah, it's incredible. So as we look ahead at sort of the Ton ecosystem, it's not all roses. What do you think are some of the challenges that will have to be overcome?
Very good question. Very important question. I think number one, the ease of development is actually not as trivial. So a lot of us have worked in the EVM.
I hear it's pretty hard to develop on Ton.
Yeah, it's very good. I should say I'm not a developer, but a lot of my developers complain a lot, and they're
like, "What am I doing? Give me a raise."
Yeah, it's a very, very important point, but I'm very confident the team is sorting it out. I've actually already made a lot of great updates on this, so the programmability of smart contracts and other innovations that are coming. So I think it's a very, very important point. The second one, in my opinion, is that while user numbers are very high, I think we still can do 10 times better than this. So I think we need to onboard a more diverse set of users. A lot of the users on Telegram actually are extremely from a handful of jurisdictions and geographies around the world. A lot of your friends in the US probably can't use the Telegram wallet or the Ton blockchain unless we have VPNs. Not for US users.
Yeah.
But actually,
not financial advice either.
Not financial advice, of course. But actually, when I speak to a lot of my friends in the EVM ecosystem that have used Telegram for many years, they haven't used Telegram. They haven't used the Telegram wallet. They haven't used Ton. And when I send them USDT just as a fun, as a gimmick, many of them actually can't onboard to the wallet and haven't been able to successfully make the transition. So I think you need to really focus on making the onboarding journey very easy for a lot of these markets. But I've been in touch with many of the people at the organization ecosystem here. I know they're working on it, and I'm very impressed with the pace of execution innovation.
Absolutely. And on your own roadmap, anything sort of the next quarter ahead that you're sort of doing that you're excited about you could share?
Extremely excited. So we launched a Telegram mini app. We've amassed millions of users, and the next step is that we make our products and tokens, so MT-Bill and Embase, accessible on Ton natively. We've already deployed those tokens, actually as of last week, and we're looking to integrate those tokens to many of these great DeFi protocols, many of them we've discussed earlier in the show.
Cool. Well, exciting stuff. Thanks for spending a little time with us. If folks want to learn more about you or Midas, do you have an X handle that they can follow you and the company?
My personal handle is D Dinkelmeyer on Twitter and X, and you can find our website www.midas.app, so you find all our docs online.
All right. Thanks for hanging out today.
Thanks. Love it. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on Edge of NFT reflect solely those views and opinions of the show hosts and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information available on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of those links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.